Intimacy of touch with moon in Purva Ashada Nakshatra. Touched with love, caring, and nurturing at physical, mental, and emotional levels. With the moon in Purva Ashada, touch is an invocation of hope, passion, and inner freedom. You don't just want to be held, you want to be reawakened. Every touch must carry intention and vitality. It should not simply soothe your skin, it must echo your soul's yearning for expansion, truth, and emotional aliveness. Purva Ashada, ruled by Apis, the goddess of fresh waters, imbues your emotional body with a thirst for renewal. You long to be touched like a current breaking through stagnation. Something inside you watches for honesty in the way someone reaches for you. Their energy must be clear, optimistic, and clean. If it's emotionally muddy, if they're hiding fear, control, or guilt, you feel it in your bones and you instinctively recoil. Touch for you must match your rhythm. Not overly heavy, not overly hesitant. It must be confident without controlling, passionate without pressuring, present without clinging. You want to be touched like a sacred fire is being tended, with awe, warmth, and respect for your independence. You crave contact that inspires movement in your inner waters, not touch that makes you feel confined. Your giving is similarly vivid. You might reach for your partner like a breeze after drought, refreshing, full of soul, playful yet grounding. You offer your presence through gestures that say, "I see your light. Let me keep it burning." Whether it's a bold kiss in the middle of the day or a soft palm over the chest in silence, your touch is a blend of encouragement and immersion. But when you're emotionally misaligned, your physical closeness fades quickly. If trust is broken or you feel emotionally cornered, your body becomes untouchable, not in anger, but in instinct. You don't fake connection. You won't offer access to someone who no longer feels aligned with your spirit. Your moon demands emotional clarity before physical reentry. To deepen intimacy through touch, speak with emotional transparency. Say, "When you touch me with presence and warmth, not pressure, I open." Or, "I'm drawn to touch that feels alive and honest, not just familiar." Let this be a pathway to safety, not a wall. And allow yourself to be touched in your moments of stillness, not just your passions. Let someone hold you when you're tired. Let touch be a reminder that even the wildest waters deserve still pools. You don't have to be dazzling to be worthy of closeness. You don't have to perform your light to be held in love. Because when touch becomes not demand but devotional renewal, when it flows with reverence, play, and real presence, your Purva Ashada moon finds what it quietly craves. A closeness that doesn't contain your wildness, but amplifies your spirit. A connection that says, "I don't touch you to tame you. I touch you because your truth moves something sacred in me." Intimacy of sensate with moon in Purva Ashada Nakshatra. To be heard, seen, tasted, smelled at physical sensory levels. With the moon in Purva Ashada, sensory intimacy is an awakening. Your body, mind, and spirit are lit by experience, but only if it's sincere, vivid, and alive. You do not respond to dulled perception or emotional laziness. For you, being seen, touched, heard, or held is not just a physical act, it's a ceremony of recognition. You want to be felt with clarity, witnessed with wonder, and heard with faith. Ruled by Apis, the goddess of flowing, purifying waters, and anchored in Sagittarius, Purva Ashada brings the energy of spiritual fire and emotional cleansing. You need the sensory world to mean something. A scent must carry memory. A sound must ripple truth. A glance must stir something real. You are not here for surface pleasure. You are here for resonance. You feel most intimate in sensory moments that reflect emotional authenticity and depth. The exact tone of someone's voice when they tell you the truth. The unguarded look in their eyes when they don't try to impress you. The way a certain music track matches the movement of your inner life. You absorb these details. You live for them. Sensory dissonance, however, shuts you down. A smile that feels hollow. Perfume that hides insecurity. Words that sound rehearsed. Your emotional body can't tolerate falseness in tone or texture. Your moon won't settle for being seen if it's not seen rightly. And if you sense pretense, you withdraw without apology. You give sensory presence generously when you feel safe. You make eye contact like it's a contract. You listen with your full body. You prepare meals, choose music, or select spaces that move energy. You speak not just to talk, but to invite connection. You are not flashy, but you are alive in every detail you share. To deepen this intimacy, name what sensory connection means to you. Say, I feel safest when what I sense aligns with what's being felt. Let me see you fully. Or, it's the way you look at me when you're not performing. That's what makes me trust you. And allow yourself to be perceived in your own wholeness. Let someone take in your body, your voice, your chaos, your brilliance, without trying to shrink or edit any of it. Let yourself be received through the senses, without needing to over-explain or translate. Because when sensory intimacy becomes not indulgence but truth made visible, your Purva Ashada moon finds its natural element, a connection that touches every layer of you without intrusion. A bond that says, I see what's shining in you, I hear what you're not saying, I feel who you really are, and I'll meet you, sensation by sensation without turning away. Intimacy of kindness with moon in Purva Ashada Nakshatra. Approach should always be one of kindness and compassion, giving each other space to be individual and unique, yet caring and nurturing. With the moon in Purva Ashada, kindness must feel expansive, not corrective. You don't respond to niceties that seek to manage you. You bloom when someone sees your wild ambition, your inner fire, and your emotional beliefs, and meets it all with faith and respect. Kindness to you is not about softness alone. It's about encouragement without restraint, a compassion that says, keep becoming, I'll walk with you. Ruled by Apis, the goddess of flowing water, and set within the spirited sign of Sagittarius, Purva Ashada brings a deep emotional conviction to love. You believe in the power of connection to uplift, to purify, to grow, but that connection must never become patronizing. You are not a soul who thrives under pity or passive sweetness. You want to be met by someone who honors your fire without trying to contain it. True kindness, for you, shows up in small, soul-literate gestures. Someone encouraging your ideas when you feel misunderstood. Someone offering warmth, not because you're broken, but because you're tired from expanding so hard for so long. Someone staying beside you when you're unsure of your own light, without trying to dim or overdefine it. You are naturally kind, but your kindness isn't always gentle. It's spirited. You cheer loudly. You support your partner's wildest dreams. You push them to believe in more than what they currently see. Your love is like a sunlit stream, buoyant, cleansing, forward-moving. You may not always know how to hold silence, but you know how to breathe energy into the soul of the one you love. Yet, when kindness becomes patronizing or conditional, when it's offered with strings or used to keep you in check, you sense it instantly. Your moon does not tolerate emotional manipulation disguised as care. If someone's compassion tries to tame you, your spirit begins to pull away, seeking clarity. To deepen this intimacy, name what real kindness feels like for you. Say, I need compassion that expands me, not corrects me. Kindness that says, I see your wildness, and I honor it. Or support me by believing in me when I've lost momentum, not by trying to soften me into something smaller. And allow yourself to receive warmth that doesn't come with a map. Let someone offer you a quiet cup of comfort when your edges are raw. Let their care land not because you need saving, but because your heart also deserves rest from the constant striving. Because when kindness becomes not caretaking, but soul-stoking presence, when it lifts you without managing you, your Purva Ashada moon finds its nourishment. A love that says, you are already more than enough. Keep growing. I'm not afraid of your expansion. I am here for it. Intimacy of growth with moon in Purva Ashada Nakshatra. Allowing each to grow at their own pace, yet being self-honoring. By allowing themselves to be loved and nurtured, even if it means with other partners. With the moon in Purva Ashada, growth is not just a need. It is your emotional rhythm. You are not here to stay static, emotionally or spiritually. Your soul speaks in the language of vision, evolution, and movement toward truth. Any love that asks you to shrink, stagnate, or stay small becomes a cage, no matter how sweet the intention. For you, real intimacy grows when both people expand, even if it's not always in the same direction. Ruled by Apis, the flowing waters, and rooted in Sagittarius's questing fire, your moon contains a restless optimism, a deep knowing that there is always more to learn, more to become, more to express. You are deeply loyal when your growth is supported. But the moment love becomes conditional on who you were yesterday, Your emotional body begins to rebel. You will not abandon yourself to be loved by someone else. Growth, to you, means being free to follow your inner compass, even when it pulls you away from comfort zones. It means being able to say, I need to explore this. I need to question this. I need to move towards something I can't name yet. And to still be held with respect, even if your path temporarily diverges from your partner's. You also understand that the heart doesn't always move in straight lines. You may love deeply and still need solitude. You may be committed and still crave spiritual independence. You may stay, but only if staying doesn't cost you your soul's truth. Because you honor your own growth so deeply, you often extend this to others. You can respect your partner's expansion, even if it's disruptive, even if it involves them being nurtured by someone else. But you ask one thing: transparency. You can handle nearly anything except dishonesty. Growth is sacred to you, but it must be owned and named, not hidden in guilt or avoidance. To deepen this intimacy, speak directly. Say, I need space to change and to be loved while I'm in the middle of changing. Or, I don't fear your growth, but I do need honesty about where you're going. Let your partner know that growth does not end intimacy, but denial does. And allow yourself to receive love even when you're unfinished. Let yourself be nurtured when you're questioning everything. Let yourself be held when you're still in motion. You don't have to reach the destination to deserve devotion. Because when growth becomes not rupture, but mutual expansion, when love can breathe through becoming, your Purva Ashada moon finds its highest expression, a connection that says, you are not too much when you evolve. You are not wrong for needing space. I love the person you're becoming, even if I have to relearn you again and again. Intimacy of activity with moon in Purva Ashada Nakshatra. To be honoring of oneself and the other in what and with whom they want to participate in activities, without force or compulsion. With the moon in Purva Ashada, activity must feel like expansion, not obligation. You do not engage in things just to pass the time or fulfill a social script. Every act, whether playful or purposeful, must feel like it is moving your spirit forward, or else your soul grows restless. Intimacy through activity for you is about shared vision, shared momentum, and the unspoken thrill of discovering something new together. Ruled by Apas, goddess of flowing water, and shaped by Sagittarius' questing fire, Purva Ashada thrives on movement with meaning. You feel closest to someone not necessarily when you are physically side by side, but when the intent behind the action is aligned. A partner hiking beside you, planning a future, or dreaming aloud with you, even in silence, feels infinitely more intimate than someone who simply tags along without presence. You do not need to do everything together. In fact, you thrive when there is mutual freedom to choose one's path of engagement. What you cannot tolerate is energetic drag, when someone shows up in body but not in spirit. If the activity is forced, the joy dies. If it's devoid of discovery or authenticity, you feel like you're betraying your own rhythm. You are most alive in activity when there is creative freedom, a spontaneous trip, a passionate project, a co-created adventure. Even routine tasks become sacred if they are infused with shared laughter, honesty, or vision. But the moment an activity becomes repetitive without growth, or performed just to fulfill duty, you begin to drift emotionally, often without warning. You give your best in shared activity when you're inspired. You show up with enthusiasm, ideas, energy. You initiate with optimism and bring a sense of vitality to the experience. But you need your partner to honor your emotional shifts and creative cycles, to trust that when you withdraw, it's not absence but realignment. To deepen this intimacy, express your values clearly. Say, I feel closest when we do things together that make us grow or feel more alive. It's not about the thing, it's about how present we are in it. Or, if I choose to do something alone, it's not rejection, it's renewal. I'll return clearer and more able to connect. And allow yourself to enjoy simplicity too. You don't always have to chase meaning or adventure. Let yourself rest in a shared stillness. Let the sacredness be in a walk with no destination, a mundane task with a loving presence beside you. Because when activity becomes not a performance, but a permission to engage or disengage freely, when it's rooted in authenticity and mutual respect, your Purva Ashada moon finds the intimacy it's made for, A relationship that says, you don't have to be everywhere I am to be with me. Let's both move where our spirit needs to go and meet again where our paths align, alive with choice. Intimacy of allowance with moon in Purva Ashada Nakshatra. To allow each to be who and what they are at any given moment, day or week of their life, knowing that one is not a master or slave of another. With the moon in Purva Ashada, allowance is emotional oxygen. You need space not because you are aloof, but because your emotional body is shaped by waves of becoming. You are not one fixed expression. You are enthusiasm, exhaustion, conviction, confusion, all moving in cycles, in motion. For you, true intimacy means being allowed to be, without being managed, measured, or morally appraised. Purva Ashada is ruled by Apas, the goddess of flowing water, water that purifies, nourishes, and when blocked, erupts. You cannot be held in place by expectations that don't honor your emotional flow. You require a relationship that says, who are you today? I'll meet that person, not the one I wanted you to be. You are most connected when your spontaneity is not punished and when your depth is not rushed. You offer this same freedom to others. You're not interested in controlling anyone's journey. You admire those who live by inner fire, who shift, who grow, who burn things down and come back more aligned. What you cannot tolerate is emotional dishonesty, people who perform stability while suppressing their truth. You respect fluctuation, but not falseness. You love fiercely, but never want to be owned. Your loyalty runs deep, but it is nourished by self-honoring movement, not compliance. If a partner begins to treat your independence as a threat, or confuses your need for space as emotional disinterest, your moon begins to distance itself, not in drama, but in preservation. Your intimacy deepens when you feel invited, not expected. When your silence isn't interrogated. When your intensity isn't trimmed. When your need for stillness or solitude isn't interpreted as failure. And when you're allowed to change your mind, not because you're uncertain, but because you're evolving. To deepen this kind of intimacy, say, I don't always feel the same each day, but I am always real. Can you stay close to the truth of who I am even when it changes? Or, if you give me space without punishment, I return with more of myself to give. And allow yourself to be fully met, even when you're undone. You don't need to be consistent to be lovable. Let yourself be received in the middle of a pivot. Let yourself be held while still figuring out what version of you is emerging. Because when allowance becomes not indifference, but radical respect, when love knows how to breathe through your transformation, your Purva Ashada moon finds the intimacy it secretly craves. A love that says, you do not belong to me, you belong to your becoming. And I will stay near, not to shape you, but to honor what you become again and again. Intimacy of giving with moon in Purva Ashada Nakshatra. Knowing and being that all love originates in the act of giving, safety of space, nurturing, and caring. With the moon in Purva Ashada, giving is an act of soul encouragement. You don't give from obligation. You give from a place of inspired belief in another's potential. Your love offers not just comfort, it offers upliftment. To be close to you is to be seen as capable of greatness, even when you feel like you're falling apart. When you give, it's like sunlight breaking through doubt. Ruled by Apas, the goddess of purification, and anchored in Jupiter-ruled Sagittarius, Purva Ashada infuses your emotional body with hope and motion. You give like a river, naturally, continuously, but never aimlessly. Your nurturing is not about overprotection. It's about reminding people of who they are when they forget. It's about whispering, keep going, I see what you're becoming. You give most generously when your own expansion is respected. If you feel confined, your giving dries up, not from bitterness, but from misalignment. You cannot give where your freedom is denied. You won't offer love that's expected instead of chosen. Your giving must be authentic and inspired, or it feels false to your spirit. You offer touch, laughter, guidance, ritual, celebration, each as a sacred gift, not a transaction. You're the kind of partner who plans a surprise journey, not just to impress, but to ignite your partner's spirit. You encourage their ideas. You hold them through their fears, not by trying to fix them, but by reminding them they're still full of potential, even in the midst of struggle. But your moon also carries discernment. You don't give endlessly to those who won't grow. If your generosity is consumed without reverence, If your nurturing becomes expected or taken for granted, you will begin to emotionally detach. Your care must land in fertile soil. To deepen this intimacy, express the source of your giving. Say, "When I give, it's because I believe in you, not because I expect anything in return." Or, "I offer my presence because I feel something alive between us, something worth feeding." And allow yourself to give in softer ways too, not just through guidance or encouragement, but through stillness, affection, and presence. Let yourself offer comfort without agenda. Let love be less about momentum and more about mutual nourishment. Because when giving becomes not performance but soul support, when your love flows from spaciousness and belief, your Purva Ashada moon finds its natural gift, a devotion that says, "I give because I see you rising. I give because your fire matters to this world. I give because loving you helps both of us remember what we're capable of." Intimacy of receiving with moon in Purva Ashada Nakshatra. Knowing and being that intimacy is an act of receiving with gratitude and originates in the inner feeling of being abundant in giving, receiving another at all levels, physical, emotional, and mental. With the moon in Purva Ashada, receiving is an act of quiet courage. You are so often the giver, the encourager, the uplifter, the one who holds vision when others can't. But for you, true intimacy comes when you allow someone else to pour into you. Not because you're empty, but because you finally made room to be touched, seen, and nourished without needing to perform strength. Ruled by Apas, the goddess of life-renewing waters, and lit by the hopeful fire of Sagittarius, your emotional body is infused with movement, optimism, and inner direction. You're used to reaching forward, seeking purpose, giving generously. So when someone turns toward you, offering presence, praise, or care, you may instinctively deflect or intellectualize it. Not out of arrogance, but because receiving feels vulnerable in a way that giving never does. You want to trust that love doesn't have to be earned every moment. You long to relax into arms that don't require proof of your light. But to do that, you must first believe. Receiving does not diminish your independence, it refines your power. When you do allow yourself to receive, you do it deeply. You don't skim the surface of affection. You absorb it, remember it, honor it. A hand on your cheek, a partner's steady gaze, a word of encouragement that arrives without demand, all of it echoes in your system long after the moment has passed. You don't need much. You just need truth in the giving. You are especially sensitive to the energy behind what's offered. If someone gives from ego, guilt, or unspoken expectation, your system shuts down. You only open when the offering is clean, when it says, "This is for you, not for what you'll give back." You don't want to be impressed. You want to be met. To deepen this intimacy, name the subtle edge you walk. Say, "It's easier for me to give than to receive, but when your care is clear and grounded, I feel it. It reaches me." Or, "When I let you care for me, it's not weakness, it's trust. It means I feel safe to lay down the part of me that always holds." And allow yourself to receive without apology. Let the support come. Let the love land before you've figured out how to repay it. Let someone fill your cup, not because you're running dry, but because you deserve to feel full without having to earn it every time. Because when receiving becomes not debt, but devotion returned, when it rises from the same stream you so often give from, your Purva Ashada moon finds the intimacy it quietly yearns for. A love that says, "You don't need to inspire me to be worthy. You don't need to carry it all to be cherished. I give this because you are already enough, here now, just as you are."